Hey, I'm back home now, and it's 3 days post-surgery for my prophylactic right mastectomy. I had a mastectomy on the left side that was not prophylactic 9 months ago, and just 3 days ago I had my second one. I decided that I didn't want to wonder if there was cancer in there too for the rest of my life, so I wanted to take this one off too prophylactically. And also just to even myself out. I felt really good about being flat on the left, and I didn't realize that I would, and so I went ahead and went flat on the right as well. Many of you already know that and know my story and are waiting for an update, and so I just thought I would talk today about how it's been since I got home and kind of reflecting on how it went in the hospital as well a little bit more. So the ride home was actually pretty okay. I didn't expect it to be. I thought we might have to stop and spend the night halfway home because it was just too sore, too painful to be bouncing around driving that long. But I was really okay. So my pain was really helped by the gabapentin, I think. And it kind of subsided for the trip. And so that was really nice. It was a beautiful sunny day. We did stop and have lunch halfway and decided that we could make it the rest of the way at that point. And we stopped also at my mom and dad's house because I realized I needed something to help me sleep. My mom has been using this CBD cannabinoid combination that I'll talk about later. So I got her extra bottle of that to help me sleep. I am at the 3-day mark now, so I am at the prescribed time, the minimum amount of time that I should stay on gabapentin for long-term chronic pain reduction. Based on the study that I'm following the protocol for, it talks about just staying on gabapentin for 3 days after your surgery. The prescribed amount in the study was 400 milligrams, but I have a pretty low body weight. I'm just 120 pounds, so I am doing a 300 milligram gabapentin every 6 hours. And so tonight I will start tapering down off of my gabapentin. I don't want to completely go off of it. You always should taper down off of it gently. And so I'll take it tomorrow, but I'll take it in 200 and 100 milligram doses. And probably by the following day I'll be done. The other part of that protocol is EMLA cream. It's lidocaine, prilocaine cream that is prescribed, and it is something that I put on about a teaspoon's worth every time I take my gabapentin, and I put it on pretty much up here above my bandages. So I'll go ahead and do that right now and show you kind of how I do that. I'm almost out of it, so I'm just going to do like a half a teaspoon. So I just put it on my skin as far down as I can. And this doesn't reduce bruising. I also take an Arnica CBD topical cream every three hours after this, so every 6 hours on the odd times. And I use that at the opposite times from the EMLA cream to reduce bruising and also to help with local pain. I have very little pain over on my left side. I did have a revision on my left side. That's why I have bandages here. So most of the surgery was over here on my right side, and it is pretty tender still. But, and I did have a little pain on my left side when I first came home from the hospital right here, but it's not even sensitive to touch right now, so it's getting better. So the EMLA cream can go as far up as your sternum, but as far down as you can get without getting into your bandages. And that's just something that I had asked my surgeon for. She wasn't familiar with that study. And I offered to send it to her, but she didn't seem interested, so I didn't. So I just had that prescribed prior to surgery along with my gabapentin. Speaking of bruises, I haven't seen any blood or bruises yet at all. Of course, I have my bloody juice coming out of my my side and into my drain, and that's getting lighter and lighter. Actually, I'll show you. It looks more like melon juice than blood right now. It's kind of more of an orangey color. And actually it's much lower in quantity than it was my first mastectomy, so I think I could already take it out. If I was in Seattle and was near the hospital, I could probably have someone take it out for me, but since I'm back down in Oregon now, probably will wait. I don't know, we'll see. I thought about going into like an urgent care center and having them take it out, because I know that I've heard of people doing that before when they're not close to their hospital. So I might do that, especially if the levels keep as low as they are. They're in the mid to high 20s right now, so pretty low, which is great. I think in my last video you saw that I was wearing an ACE bandage. They sent me home with the classic pink bra, and I didn't like it. It was pressing on my drain and it hurt and stung a little bit, so I took it off right away as soon as I was home from the hospital to my Airbnb. And they had these pieces of kind of folded up gauze, so it's just regular thin gauze, but they're folded into squares, and they had like 3 or 4 of them on each breast underneath the pink bra, just in case I did bleed. So I kept these and I used them as padding for compression for the first few hours after surgery with this ACE bandage, and the ACE bandage was way more comfortable than the pink bra. I basically just had it over the top part here, so it wasn't like irritating down here where my drain is. I only have one drain on the right side. Anyway, and then I was looking back at my research on compression and when to do compression, and it really isn't recommended to do compression right away. So since that time, I've been wearing something like this that's a little stretchy and a little bit compressing, but not as fully compressed as a compression garment normally would be. It doesn't have that much spandex in it. It's just a little bit stretchy, and it holds me so that I feel less vulnerable when I'm sleeping or walking around during the day. So I'm not compressing right now. When I do start compressing in a couple of days, I will use this ACE bandage again. And probably instead of these gauze pieces, which are not sanitary any longer because they've been kind of floating around in my suitcase and whatnot, I will use these packaged. They're called ABD sterile pads. And I have these left over from my last mastectomy. I had a whole bunch of them in a bag, and so obviously these are sterile. And tonight I'm going to be taking my second shower. I took a very light shower the day that I got home, the day after surgery. And so day 3 now I'm allowed to take a full shower, and I'm supposed to take my bandages off if they get wet. And I already know this one will get wet because it's completely exposed here at the top. The sticky part has come undone. So I'm definitely going to be taking this bandage off tonight, which means that I will have the need to use these sterile pads. So it won't be quite as convenient. Probably I'll have to keep stuffing these in whatever garment I'm wearing, and I'll have to wear a garment to hold this in, or maybe some tape, I guess that's possible. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll definitely get back to you on how that went in my next video. So when I was at the hospital and they were about to move me into the post-op recovery area, there were 2 post-op areas, the first one and the second one. I stayed in the first one a long time after I had woken up because I was in quite a bit of pain. And that was very different from me. The first mastectomy I had here in Portland area, I didn't have any pain at all afterwards, and I was kind of surprised by that because the woman next to me had tons of pain and she was having the same procedure done. But I didn't have pain at all, so I just kind of went merrily on my way home, pretty quickly after I woke up. But this time I did have pain, and I really struggled and didn't know whether I should just take gabapentin or allow them to give me some narcotics. And I did take gabapentin, and it didn't seem to help a lot at that time, right after surgery. So they did give me 2 small doses of fentanyl before I left. And it was really, really small doses, so it didn't knock me out at all. And it didn't even really affect my bowel movements and my digestion. So it couldn't have been very much, which is great. But it was surprising that I had quite a bit of pain, and I expected that to mean that I'd have a harder time recovering. But here on day 3, I am very flexible. I'm not going to raise my hands above my head because I'm not supposed to, but I have a lot of range of motion, and I've been pretty active and pretty comfortable being active, and I've slept really well without any pain or discomfort. Part of that is because I'm taking that CBD cannabinoid combination, so that helps, but it's been great. So I haven't needed narcotics to sleep, which a lot of people rely on their narcotics to sleep. So that's been good. I didn't get to talk to my surgeons in the end on the day of surgery like I did the first time, and I think that might be because I didn't have cancer diagnosed this time prior to surgery. So I think if I had had some kind of cancer that they knew was in there, then my breast surgeon would have come back and reported on the margins. But because I didn't have any cancer or known cancer in there this time, she never came back and talked to me after surgery or let me know how it went or anything like that. So I have to wait until my appointment with her. My appointment with her isn't till 2 weeks from surgery, but my appointment with the plastic surgeon is 1 week. So just a few days from now on Wednesday. So so I will find out from my plastic surgeon how it went before I find out from my breast surgeon. And probably I'll get pathology back when I see my breast surgeon. So I'll have to wait 2 weeks for pathology, where last time I only had to wait 1 week. So that'll be kind of hard to wait and see, like, did they find any cancer? I'm really curious because I do feel like it's pretty likely that they might have found cancer in this second breast, even though we didn't have any reason to think that there would be some there. We didn't have any reason to think there'd be any invasive cancer in my left breast either. We were just going in for the precancer that we could see. So we'll see how that pathology turns out. So because I have been so active and so comfortable in my body with this level of gabapentin, last time I remember I would know when it was time to take another dose of gabapentin, but this time I've gone like 2 or 3 hours forgetting that it's time to take another dose. So obviously I'm doing really well with pain management. It is really, really low already after 3 days. So I think the hardest thing for me to do right now is just to make myself rest. I had lots of things to do, lots of plants to water outside that are getting dry, and I just have to really pace myself and not do all the laundry at once and not do all the plants at once, but just take it in little chunks. And that's been hard because I am kind of an active person and I like to be on my feet. So one thing that helped me slow down yesterday was I had this magazine, Wildfire magazine, which is all about breast cancer survivors under the age of 50. And so I read the whole thing. It just came out, and I happen to have been one of the authors in this magazine. This is my article and my picture. So that was really fun to be published and to get the magazine in the mail on my way home from the hospital and get to read it the next day. So that kept me in my recliner for quite a couple hours yesterday, which was great. And I think I'm just going to have to force myself to watch some TV and movies, and that'll keep me grounded also. So yeah, I'll tell you kind of how my CBD and THC plan has gone to this point. The first day after surgery, so the day that I woke up after I had had surgery the day before, I did take some THC and CBD for pain. And I talked about that in a video that I'll link here that you can look back to that describes that product in particular. And I'm not here to recommend any products, I'm just telling my story. So I'm not acting as a nutritionist right now. But that really helped for pain, but then I didn't need it after that. I didn't feel like I needed it in between my gabapentin doses on the following day, which was yesterday. So I didn't take it at all yesterday. There was none that I took. And so, but I did still feel like I wanted to take this sleeping potion, which has CBN in it, which is a new cannabinoid that really helps with sleep. It's not super new, but it's not very as well known as CBD or THC. So this combination has mostly CBD in it. It's 15 parts CBD to 5 parts THC and 2 parts CBN. So the CBD makes the other things more active, and that's why you need less of them. And there's no psychoactive effects if you're just taking a small dose, which I was. I just took like a half a dropper. So I did that the night before last and also last night, and I slept 10 hours the night before last and 9 hours last night, really solidly. No tossing and turning, no being irritated with my wedge pillow, which is not the ideal way for me to sleep normally. I just slept like a rock. You might be able to get this outside of Oregon in a medical marijuana shop, so I guess I could tell you the name of the brand. It's High Desert Pure, and it is the only combination I've ever been able to find when I've been searching that is just for sleep, and it's very potent for sleep. It's called Hibernate, and it's honey almond flavored. And so it actually does taste like honey and almond. It tastes like an almond extract, kind of. It's not a bad taste. You're supposed to roll it around in your mouth a little and have it absorb in the mucous membrane in your mouth. So that's the best way to use it. And it doesn't taste bad when you do so. So yeah, I just take, it's got a child safety lid, but I just take, you know, just about, I guess, 60 or 75 mLs and roll it around in my mouth. And a few minutes later, I'm off to La La Land, and I really like it. There's no side effects. I don't plan to use it long term, so I'm not worried about addiction, and I just think that it'll be really good for me for the next couple of weeks when I'm not comfortable yet and bandaged up in different ways. So yeah, I just wanted to report that I'm doing really well. And actually I can show you my bandages. I wanted to do that at the end so that people who don't want to see them can kind of tune out now at this point when I'm about to bare my bare bandages. But I thought I would show you kind of what things look like at this point. Things are still, you know, decompressing, and the fluid is still draining out, so of course there's a little bit of swollenness. We don't know exactly what things are going to look like yet, but I will show you now. Oh, and if you haven't followed me on Instagram, I got henna a week ago today in preparation for my surgery, so that's what the ink is on me. So yeah, so you can see, or maybe you can't see, but this side is a little bit taller than this side is. There's definitely more tissue over here, and it's just skin. It's just folded up skin that they put underneath here and folded my skin up over it. It has a Goldilocks Mastectomy, which I also have videos about that I'll link to up above and down below. And then this side we had a little revision. I had a lump that was left on erroneously by my last plastic surgeon, who did not remember that I didn't want any lumps or false nipples. So they took that down and kind of de-epithelialized it and folded some of the skin inward so that it's more of a mound and less of a lump. But this side will always be less bulky than this side, and if I want to be, you know, wearing something really tight and showing my cleavage or showing my breast shapes, then I might decide to use a small prosthetic to even them out. But I'm guessing I probably won't, because I don't have a big hang up around asymmetry. And I'm really, really pleased. You know, the day before surgery, I was thinking about and talking to my husband about, like, how relieved I am that I'm not going to have a nipple anymore. And he just couldn't understand that. But there are things about having natural breasts that aren't easy, and I like the idea that I'm not going to have to wear a bra because I don't have a nipple to disguise anymore. I also like the fact that I'm really small now, and my breasts actually feel like they match my body. So I have a very thin frame, as you can see, and I had very large breasts. I had double D size breasts, and I just don't feel like they were a good match for my small, thin frame. So, and really they bulked up because of all the estrogen in my system and the way that I was not able to process it and detox it. So it wasn't even the way that I was meant to be, I don't believe. And it is strange to look in the mirror and not have any large breasts at this point, because I had 9, almost 10 months where I had one large breast and one no breast. So it is very strange to get used to that, no matter how much preparation you give yourself. But I'm pretty happy with the outcome so far, and I'm really excited to take this bandage off particularly and see what it looks like. This one too, but this one is going to be the real new, very, very new piece. And so I'm anxious to do that, and hopefully I'll get to share that with you as well. Let me know if you're interested in that. And I'll see you in the next video in just a few days. All right, bye-bye.